The massive space station called Nexus Prime floated in the empty space between star systems. It was the center of all galactic power, where the most important decisions were made. Inside its gleaming halls, alien beings from across the galaxy gathered to discuss the fate of younger species. Commander Lee Taemin stood in the communication room of his ship, the TSS Determination. His face was calm, but his hands were tight fists at his sides. The message he had just received made his blood boil with anger he could barely control. "Captain Park So-young," he called to his second-in-command. "Come look at this." So-young walked over to read the official document on the screen. Her eyes grew wide as she read each line. The Galactic Council had sent another demand to humanity. This time, they wanted humans to give up 60% of their farming worlds to feed the Veilith Empire. They also demanded that human mining colonies be handed over to the Korthak Collective. But the worst part was at the bottom of the message. "They want our children," So-young whispered. "They want to take human children away from their families and put them in education camps." Taemin nodded grimly. "They call it civilization training. They say human children need to learn proper behavior from their alien masters." The commander walked to the large window that showed the stars. Out there, millions of humans lived on hundreds of worlds. They worked hard, followed galactic law, and tried to build good lives for their families. For 200 years, humanity had done everything the Galactic Council asked. They gave away resources, followed unfair rules, and accepted being treated like second-class citizens. "Sir, this is the 14th major demand in just 6 months," So-young said. "Our colonies are already giving away most of their food for free. Our miners work extra shifts to meet alien quotas. How much more can we take?" Taemin turned back to face her. His cybernetic hand, a replacement from an old mining accident, crushed the data pad he was holding. The metal crumpled like paper. "Signal. Admiral Kim Jinwoo on Terra," he said quietly. "Tell him it's time for the Prometheus Protocol." So-young's face went pale. Every human military officer knew about the Prometheus Protocol, but none of them thought it would ever be used. It was the plan that would change everything. "Are you sure, sir?" she asked. "I'm sure," Taemin replied. "Send the message." On the other side of the galaxy, Ambassador Veltaric was giving a speech to the Galactic Council. He was a member of the progenitor species, one of the oldest and most powerful races in known space. His people had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. "The humans continue to resist our guidance," he said to the assembled aliens. "They question our decisions and show disrespect for proper galactic order. Perhaps we have been too gentle with them." Other council members nodded in agreement. The Veilith representative, a tall being with purple skin and 4 arms, spoke next. "My empire needs those farming worlds. The humans are wasting them with their primitive methods. We could feed twice as many people with proper Veilith technology." The Korthak delegate, whose species was made of living crystal, added their voice. "The mining operations under human control are inefficient. Our people could extract minerals much faster." None of them questioned whether it was right to take these things from humanity. In their minds, older species naturally deserved more than younger ones. It had always been this way. The strong ruled the weak, and humans were definitely weak. Back on Earth, deep underground in the most secret military facility ever built, Admiral Kim Jin-woo received Tymon's message. He was an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had spent his entire career watching his people be pushed around by alien powers. Today, that would end. "Activate all communication channels," he ordered his staff. "I want every human commander in the galaxy to hear this." The Admiral walked to the center of the command room. Around him, holographic displays showed every human world, every ship, every military base across hundreds of star systems. Red lights began flashing as systems that had been sleeping for decades came online. Dr. Yoon Hanul appeared on one of the screens. She was broadcasting from a research station in the Outer Rim, far from any alien patrol. She looked excited and nervous at the same time. "Admiral, all Phase 4 weapons are ready," she reported. "The galaxy has no idea what we've been building out here." Jin-woo nodded. "Good. Are the crews prepared?" "Every human soldier, pilot, and technician knows their role," Hanul confirmed. "We've been training for this day for 20 years. The Admiral took a deep breath. He thought about his grandfather, who had been alive when humans first met aliens. Back then, humanity had been so excited to join the galactic community. They thought they would be welcomed as equals, sharing knowledge and building a better future together. Instead, they had been treated like children. Worse than children, like slaves. "Open the channel," Jin-woo commanded. Across human space, every communication device suddenly activated, from the smallest farming colony to the largest space station. Humans stopped what they were doing to listen. "This is Admiral Kim Jin-woo of Terra Command." His voice rang out clearly. "For 200 years we have endured. We have followed orders. We have been patient while aliens took our resources, controlled our trade, and treated us like servants. Today, that patience ends. On thousands of worlds, humans looked up at screens showing their supreme military commander. Many had never seen him before, but they all knew his reputation. The Galactic Council believes we are weak because we have chosen peace over war. They think our kindness means we cannot fight. They are about to learn how wrong they are." In space, human ships that had been disguised as cargo vessels began to change. Hidden panels slid away to reveal weapon systems that should not have existed. The galaxy's most advanced species thought they knew everything about human technology. They were about to discover they knew nothing. Operation Prometheus is now active, the Admiral continued. Every human military unit will now move to defensive positions. We will no longer give away our resources for free. We will no longer accept unfair treatment. We will no longer let aliens make decisions about human lives. Captain Park So-young watched the message with her crew on the bridge of the Determination. Around her, young officers who had never seen real combat checked their weapons and prepared for orders. "Prepare for war," Admiral Jin-woo concluded his message. "Not because we want it, but because peace was never really an option. They will learn today that humans are not the helpless species they believed us to be." The transmission ended. Across human space, military commanders began issuing orders they had memorized but hoped never to use. Ships moved into attack formations. Weapons systems powered up. Soldiers put on armor they had trained with in secret. The Galactic Council had made a terrible mistake. They had pushed humanity too far, demanded too much, and shown too little respect. Now they would face the consequences of making peaceful people angry. The day humans lost patience had begun. The secret bunkers beneath Earth's surface had been built during humanity's first contact with alien species. What the galaxy didn't know was that humans had been preparing for this moment ever since they realized how the galactic community really worked. Admiral Kim Jin-woo walked through the main command center, watching his officers work at stations that controlled humanity's greatest secret. The room was enormous, filled with holographic displays that showed every human settlement across 847 star systems. Each display showed ships, weapons, and resources that the Galactic Council believed didn't exist. "Sir, all fleet commanders are reporting ready status," announced Major Nam Soo-jin from her station. She was young but had trained her entire life for this moment. "Our deep space reconnaissance shows the aliens have no idea what's coming." Jin-woo nodded. The aliens thought they knew everything about human military capability. They had inspected human ships, reviewed human technology reports, and decided that humanity posed no threat to galactic order. They were about to discover how wrong they were. Dr. Yoon Han-yul's face appeared on the main screen. She was broadcasting from Research Station Omega, hidden in the asteroid belt of a system the aliens thought was empty. Behind her, Jin-woo could see massive construction facilities where humans had been building weapons for decades. "Admiral, I'm proud to report that Project Phoenix is complete," she said with a smile. "We have successfully miniaturized antimatter containment technology. Our new battlesuits can operate for weeks without refueling." This was technology that even the most advanced alien species had never mastered. Humans had achieved it by thinking differently, by refusing to accept that something was impossible just because others said it was. "What about the spacefold drives?" Jin-woo asked. "Fully operational on all capital ships," Han-yul replied. "We can move our fleets across the galaxy faster than the aliens can send messages to each other." Jin-woo allowed himself a small smile. The aliens had always been proud of their faster-than-light communication systems. They could send messages across the galaxy almost instantly. But humans had developed something better: the ability to physically move ships through folded space in ways that broke all known laws of physics. "And the artificial intelligence network?" the Admiral continued. "All AI units are online and coordinating," Han-yul confirmed. "We can control our entire military force as one unified system. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier will work together perfectly." This was perhaps humanity's greatest advantage. While alien species used artificial intelligence for simple tasks, humans had created true machine consciousness. These AI beings chose to work with humanity not because they were programmed to, but because they believed in human values of freedom and fairness. Colonel Ryu Dong-hyun entered the command center carrying a tablet filled with intelligence reports. He had spent years as a deep cover agent, pretending to be a simple human trader while actually mapping every alien military installation in the galaxy. Sir, the aliens are completely unprepared, he reported. Their fleets are spread thin across the galaxy. Most of their ships are old designs that haven't been updated in centuries. They've gotten lazy because no one has challenged them in so long. Jinwoo studied the tactical displays. Red dots showed alien military positions. Blue dots showed hidden human forces. The humans outnumbered the aliens in almost every system, but the aliens didn't know the human forces existed. What about their reaction time? The Admiral asked. Terrible, sir, Dong-hyun replied. Their command structure is so bureaucratic that it takes days for them to make simple decisions. By the time they realize what's happening, we'll control half the galaxy. Jinwoo turned to address the entire command center. Hundreds of officers stopped their work to listen to their leader. Ladies and gentlemen, our ancestors came to the stars hoping to find friends among the alien species. Instead, they found masters who demanded obedience. For 200 years, we have given them what they wanted while secretly preparing for the day we would say no. The officers listened intently. Many of them were third or fourth generation military personnel whose families had worked on this secret project their entire lives. Today is that day, Jinwoo continued. In 1 hour, we will simultaneously strike targets across the galaxy. We will not destroy alien civilians or attack their home worlds, but we will take back everything they have stolen from us, and we will show them that humans are not the weak species they believed us to be. On the screens around the room, human ships were moving into position. The vessels looked like ordinary cargo haulers and passenger transports, but hidden within their hulls were weapons that could crack planets and shields that could withstand star-level temperatures. Captain Choi Min-ho was aboard the lead ship approaching the Valith system. His crew had spent months pretending to be traders, learning the location of every military installation in the system. Now they were ready to strike. Sir, the Valith patrol ships are hailing us, reported his communications officer. They want to inspect our cargo. Min-ho smiled. Tell them we're carrying agricultural supplies for the Harmony colony. Same story we've been using for months. The Valith had been taking food from human colonies for so long that they no longer paid attention to the ships that delivered it. They had no idea that these cargo ships were actually the most advanced warships humanity had ever built. Meanwhile, on the mining world of Kepler 442, Major Bae Ji-hun was leading a team of soldiers disguised as human workers. The Korthak Collective had been forcing humans to work extra shifts in dangerous conditions for years. Today, that would end. Remember, we protect human civilians first, Ji-hun told his team through their communicators. The Korthak are tough, but their crystal armor can't stop our new weapons. His soldiers nodded. They wore what looked like ordinary work clothes, but underneath were battle suits powered by contained antimatter. Each soldier had the strength of a small tank and weapons that could cut through any known material. Back on Earth, Admiral Jinwoo watched the countdown timer reach 0. Across the galaxy, human forces were in position. 200 years of preparation was about to pay off. Begin Operation Prometheus, he commanded. The galaxy was about to discover that the humans they had dismissed as weak and primitive had become the most powerful military force in known space. and unlike the aliens who ruled through fear and intimidation, humans fought for something much stronger: the freedom to live their lives without bowing to alien masters. The message went out to every human commander: take back what is ours. The Valeth invasion fleet arrived at the human colony world called Harmony, expecting another easy victory. For decades, human colonies had surrendered without fighting when faced with superior alien forces. General Thex Moran, commanding the Valeth fleet, was already planning how to divide the world's resources among his officers. Open communication with the human settlement, he ordered from his flagship's bridge. Tell them they have 10 minutes to surrender or we will take the planet by force. But as his fleet moved closer to Harmony, something unexpected happened. Instead of running away or begging for mercy, a small group of human ships moved to block their path. Captain Choi Min-ho sat on the bridge of what appeared to be a simple cargo vessel. His crew looked calm and ready, which would have surprised the Valeth if they had been paying attention. Behind him, weapon systems that shouldn't exist were powering up quietly. "Attention Valeth Fleet," Min-ho transmitted on all frequencies. "You are entering human space without permission. You have 30 seconds to turn around and leave this system or face the consequences." General Thex Moran laughed so hard that his purple skin turned darker. His 4 arms gestured wildly as he spoke to his bridge crew. "Did you hear that? The primitive mammals think they can threaten us. How many ships do they have? 5? 6? We have 50 ships in this fleet." His communications officer was also laughing. "Sir, their ships don't even have military markings. They look like cargo haulers and passenger transports." "Exactly," Thex Moran replied. "These humans never learn. Send a message back. Tell them they have 10 seconds to surrender or we will destroy them all." On his ship, Captain Min-ho watched the countdown timer on his screen. 29 seconds, 28, 27. "All ships, prepare to engage," he said calmly into his communicator. "Remember, we're not just fighting for ourselves. We're fighting for every human who has ever been bullied by these aliens." Around him, his crew made final preparations. They had trained for this moment their entire careers. Today, they would show the galaxy what humans could really do when they stopped holding back. 10 seconds. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. "Fire," Min-ho ordered. What happened next would be talked about for centuries. The human ships suddenly changed. Hidden panels slid away to reveal weapons that the Valeth had never seen before. Energy readings spiked to levels that should have been impossible for ships that small. The first shot came from Min-ho's vessel. It looked like a simple beam of light, but it was actually a relativistic kill vehicle, a projectile moving at nearly the speed of light. The beam hit General Thex Moran's flagship dead center. The massive Valeth ship, which had been built to withstand the most powerful alien weapons, simply disappeared. One moment it was there, the next moment there was only empty space and expanding particles. The ship had been destroyed so completely that not even debris remained. "What?" screamed the second-in-command from another Valeth ship. "That's impossible! No weapon can do that!" But the human ships were just getting started. More beams lanced out, each one destroying a Valeth vessel instantly. The aliens tried to fight back, but their weapons couldn't even scratch the human ship's shields. "Retreat!" shouted the surviving Valith commander. "All ships retreat immediately!" But it was too late. Within 5 minutes, the entire Valith invasion fleet had been destroyed. 50 ships reduced to atoms by 6 human vessels that the aliens had dismissed as harmless cargo haulers. Similar scenes were playing out across the galaxy. On the mining world of Kepler 442, Major Bei Ji-hun was leading his disguised soldiers against the Korthak collective forces. The Korthak were a proud warrior species made of living crystal. Their natural armor was stronger than most metal, and they had been bullying human miners for decades. They thought humans were soft and weak. "Attention, human workers," announced the Korthak overseer through his translator. "Your shift has been extended again. You will work for 18 hours today, instead of 12. The human miners looked tired and defeated, just as they had every day for years. But today was different. Today, some of those miners were actually soldiers in disguise. "No," said Major Bei Ji-hun, stepping forward from the group of workers. "We're done working for you." The Korthak overseer made a sound like breaking glass, which was how his species laughed. "Foolish human. You cannot resist the collective. Guards, teach this one proper respect." 6 Korthak warriors moved toward Ji-hun. Each one was twice as tall as a human and covered in natural crystal armor that could stop any normal weapon. They had no idea that Ji-hun was wearing a battlesuit under his work clothes. As the first Korthak reached for him, Ji-hun activated his armor. The ordinary work clothes dissolved away, revealing a sleek suit that glowed with contained energy. When the Korthak grabbed him, Ji-hun simply grabbed back. The crystal warrior's arm shattered like glass. "Impossible!" the overseer shouted. "Nothing can break Korthak crystal!" But Ji-hun was already moving. His antimatter-powered suit gave him strength that no alien species had ever seen. He punched through another Korthak's chest armor like it was made of paper. He lifted a third warrior over his head and threw him across the mining facility. Around the facility, other disguised soldiers revealed themselves. They had been working alongside the real miners for months, waiting for this moment. Now they moved through the Korthak forces like unstoppable machines. "Attention, Korthak miners," Ji-hun announced as his soldiers secured the facility. "You have been stealing resources from human workers for 50 years. Today, you return everything with interest." The surviving Korthak couldn't believe what they were seeing. Humans weren't supposed to be strong. They weren't supposed to have advanced technology. They weren't supposed to fight back. But across the galaxy, humans were fighting back everywhere at once. Space stations that had been controlling human trade, routes found themselves surrounded by human warships that appeared out of nowhere. Alien patrol fleets discovered that the merchant vessels they had been escorting were actually heavily armed battle cruisers. On Nexus Prime, the Galactic Council's emergency alarms were blaring. Ambassador Veltarak stood in the main chamber, reading reports that didn't make sense. "How many human attacks?" he demanded. 237 simultaneous strikes, his aide replied with a shaking voice. "Sir, they're hitting our forces in every system at the same time." "That's impossible," Veltarak said. "Humans don't have that many ships. They don't have that kind of technology. But the reports kept coming in. Human forces were not just attacking, they were winning. Alien fleets that had seemed unbeatable were being destroyed by human ships that shouldn't exist. Alien ground forces were being defeated by human soldiers wearing armor that made them nearly invincible. For the first time in 10,000 years, the galaxy's oldest and most powerful species were learning what it felt like to be afraid. Tapiti. Humans had revealed their true strength, and it was terrifying. The emergency session of the Galactic Council had been going on for 6 hours without a break. In the Great Chamber on Nexus Prime, representatives from the most powerful species in the galaxy sat in stunned silence as report after report came in about human military actions. Ambassador Veltarak of the progenitor species stood at the center of the chamber, his ancient face showing an emotion he had never felt before: fear. For 10,000 years, his people had been the undisputed rulers of the galaxy. They had seen species rise and fall, but never had they faced a challenge like this. "Status report," he demanded from his intelligence chief. The aide's hands shook as he read from his datapad. "Sir, in the first 12 hours of human military action, we have lost contact with 47 major installations, 93 patrol fleets, and over 200 mining and agricultural facilities." "How?" Veltarak's voice was barely a whisper. "How did we miss this?" The Valith representative, one of the few survivors from the attack on Harmony, was still in shock. His purple skin had turned pale, and his forearms trembled as he spoke. "Their ships, they moved impossibly fast. One moment our fleet was approaching what we thought was a defenseless colony. The next moment our flagship was simply gone, destroyed so completely that there wasn't even debris left behind." The Korthak delegate, made of living crystal-like, all his species, made grinding sounds that indicated extreme distress. "Our warriors on Kepler 442 reported that human miners suddenly became soldiers. They were wearing armor that made them stronger than our crystal warriors. How is that possible?" But the most disturbing reports were still coming in. Human forces weren't just fighting, they were fighting with technology that shouldn't exist. Their ships could appear and disappear instantly, moving across the galaxy faster than light itself. Their weapons could destroy anything they targeted. Their soldiers wore armor that made them nearly invincible. Dr. Yoon Hanul was in her element. From her research station in the Outer Rim, she was coordinating the deployment of weapon systems that the galaxy had never imagined. Her computer screens showed human forces engaging alien targets across hundreds of star systems. "Admiral Jin Woo," she reported through the quantum communication link, "Phase 1 objectives are complete. We now control major shipping lanes in 37 systems and have secured all human colonies from alien interference." Jin Woo nodded from his command center on Earth. Around him, his staff was working to coordinate the largest military operation in human history. "What about Phase 2? "Ready to begin on your command," Hanul replied. "Our mobile fortress platforms are in position around alien homeworlds. They think we're just monitoring them, but we could shut down their entire civilizations within hours if necessary." This was perhaps the most shocking discovery for the aliens. The humans hadn't just built better weapons. They had been secretly positioning them for years. What the aliens thought were human research stations and communication relays were actually massive military installations hidden in plain sight. Colonel Nam Soo-jin was leading the assault on the Zephyrian trade hub at Wolf 359. The Zephyrians were known as the galaxy's greatest merchants, controlling most interstellar commerce. They had grown rich by forcing human traders to pay excessive fees and follow unfair rules. Remember, we're liberating this station, not destroying it, Soo-jin told her assault team as their ship approached the massive trading post. The Zephyrians have been stealing from human merchants for decades. Today we take back what they owe us. Her soldiers nodded. They were wearing the new battle suits that made them faster and stronger than any known alien species. Each suit was powered by contained antimatter and protected by energy shields that could stop anything short of a direct hit from a starship. Weapon. The Zephyrian station commander was trying to negotiate as human ships surrounded his facility. Please, there must be some mistake. We have trade agreements with your government. We follow all galactic commerce laws. You follow laws that you wrote to benefit yourselves, Soo-jin replied through the communication link. You charge human. Traders triple the normal fees. You confiscate human goods for imaginary violations. You have stolen billions of credits from my people. But we are authorized by the Galactic Council, the Zephyrian protested. These are legitimate business practices. Not anymore, Soo-jin said simply. Surrender the station and return all stolen human property, or we will take it by force. The Zephyrians chose to fight. It was a mistake they would not live to regret. Soo-jin's assault team cut through the station's defenses like they weren't there. Their weapons sliced through the station's hull, their armor protected them from everything the defenders could throw at them, and their speed made them impossible to target effectively. Within 2 hours, the largest trading post in the sector was under human control. The Zephyrians who survived were locked in their own prison cells, while human accountants began calculating exactly how much had been stolen over the years. But the most terrifying revelation for the galaxy was still to come. Major General Ryu Dong-hyun was aboard humanity's most classified project, a mobile space station called the Terra Forge. To alien observers, it looked like a simple gas mining operation in an empty system. In reality, it was a planet-killer weapon. Target confirmed, Dong-hyun reported to Admiral Jin Woo. The Zephyrian High Command is meeting on their capital world to discuss response to our actions. They still think they can negotiate with us. Good, Jin Woo replied. Make sure they can see you, but don't let them know what you really are. I want them to realize how close they came to complete destruction. The Terra Forge moved into orbit around the Zephyrian homeworld, along with 16 similar weapons positioned throughout Zephyrian space. To the aliens below, they looked like human mining ships. They had no idea that each one could crack their planet in half if given the order. As reports continued to flood into the Galactic Council, the scope of human preparation became clear. They hadn't just built a few better weapons. They had completely revolutionized warfare itself. They had created technologies that broke fundamental laws of physics. They had positioned weapons throughout the galaxy while disguising them as peaceful facilities. Most shocking of all, they had been doing this for decades while pretending to be harmless and primitive. Ambassador Veltarak finally understood the true horror of the situation. "They planned this," he said to the assembled council. "Every compliance order they followed, every resource they gave us, every time they seemed weak, it was all part of their plan." The progenitor intelligence chief nodded grimly. "Sir, we estimate they have been preparing for this moment since their first contact with galactic civilization. Every human who seemed to be working for us was actually gathering intelligence. Every human colony we thought was helpless was actually a military base in disguise." "How many ships do they really have?" Veltarak asked. "We don't know, sir. Our estimates were based on what they let us see. The real number could be 10 times higher or 100 times higher." For the first time in his long life, Ambassador Veltarak felt genuine terror. The humans hadn't just surprised them, they had completely outmaneuvered them. While the galaxy's ancient powers had grown lazy and comfortable, humanity had been working, planning, and preparing for the day they would no longer accept being treated as inferiors. That day had come, and the galaxy would never be the same. 3 weeks after the humans began their uprising, the true scope of their preparation became impossible to ignore. The galaxy had not just underestimated human military strength, they had completely misunderstood human nature itself. Admiral Kim Jin-woo stood in the main command center beneath Earth, watching displays that showed human forces across the galaxy. What the aliens were only now discovering was that humanity had spent 2 centuries turning their greatest weakness into their greatest strength. "Report from Colonel Bae Ji-hoon," announced Major Nam Soo-jin from her station. "The Andromedans have agreed to our terms. They're withdrawing from all human systems and offering to pay compensation for resources they've taken." Jinwoo nodded. The Andromedans were smart enough to recognize when they were beaten. Unlike some species, they knew when to stop fighting and start negotiating. "What about the others?" he asked. "The Centauri Collective is still refusing to acknowledge our demands," Soo-jin replied. "They say they won't negotiate with primitive mammals no matter how advanced our weapons are." Jinwoo almost smiled. The Centauri had always been the most arrogant of the alien species. They were about to learn why arrogance was dangerous when dealing with humans. Dr. Yoon Ha-Newell appeared on the main communication screen from her research station. Behind her, Jinwoo could see the construction facilities where humanity's most secret weapons were still being built. "Admiral, I have news that will interest you," she said with excitement in her voice. "Our intelligence network has been active for longer than even I realized. We have detailed information about every major alien installation in the galaxy." This was perhaps the most shocking discovery of all. While the aliens thought they had been watching humanity, humans had actually been watching them. Every human, trader, diplomat, and worker who had seemed harmless had actually been gathering intelligence. "How detailed?" Jinwoo asked. "Complete blueprints of their most secure facilities," Ha-Newell replied. "Personnel records of their military commanders, technical specifications of their weapons and ships, even personal information about their political leaders." Jinwoo understood the implications immediately. The aliens had let humans into their most secure areas because they never considered them a threat. Human janitors had cleaned alien military, Headquarters. Human technicians had repaired alien weapon systems. Human diplomats had attended alien strategy meetings. All of them had been reporting back to Earth. "There's more," Hanul continued. "Captain Park So-Young has completed her mission to the Nexus Archive. The Nexus Archive was the galaxy's most secure database, containing the complete military and political secrets of every major alien species. It was supposed to be impossible to access without the highest levels of alien security clearance." Captain Park So-Young appeared on another screen, broadcasting from deep inside the Nexus Archive facility. She was wearing a maintenance worker's uniform and carrying what looked like ordinary repair tools. "Admiral, I've downloaded everything," she reported. 200 years of alien military planning, communication codes, classified weapons research, and political intelligence. They never suspected that a human maintenance worker could be anything more than what she appeared to be. Jinwoo felt a moment of pride for his species. Humans had turned their apparent weakness into the perfect cover for the greatest intelligence operation in galactic history. But the real revelation was still coming. Major General Ryu Dong-hyun contacted the command center from his position. Aboard the Terra Forge, the planet-killer weapon disguised as a mining ship. "Sir, I'm sending you scans of the Rigel system," he reported. "You need to see this." The main display changed to show a star map of the Rigel system, where the powerful hegemony species had their capital. Red dots marked known alien military installations, but blue dots marked something else entirely. Human installations that the aliens didn't know existed. "We have 17 planet-killer weapons in hegemony space," Dong-hyun explained. "They've been there for 15 years, disguised as asteroid mining operations. The hegemony has been buying processed metals from us without realizing we could destroy their entire civilization at any time." Jinwoo studied the display. The hegemony controlled 50 star systems and commanded one of the largest fleets in the galaxy. They had been among the most aggressive in demanding resources from human colonies. Now he realized that humanity could have ended their threat at any point in the last decade. "Why didn't we reveal this capability sooner?" asked Major Su-jin. "Because we weren't ready," Jinwoo replied. "We needed to be sure we could win completely, not just fight to a stalemate. Today we can guarantee victory against any combination of alien forces." The Admiral activated the galaxy-wide communication system that connected all human military units. His image appeared on screens across hundreds of star systems, where human soldiers and officers waited for orders. "Ladies and gentlemen, Phase 3 of Operation Prometheus begins now," he announced. "For 2 centuries, we have gathered intelligence, built weapons, and positioned forces throughout the galaxy. Today, we reveal the full extent of our capabilities. Across human space, weapon systems that had been hidden for decades came online. Space stations that appeared to be simple research. Facilities revealed massive military installations. Ships that looked like cargo haulers dropped their disguises to show advanced battleships. But the most impressive revelation was humanity's new approach to warfare itself. While alien species had grown comfortable with traditional weapons and tactics, humans had revolutionized everything. Dr. Hanul activated the quantum communication network that connected every human military unit. "All commanders, you are now linked through our artificial intelligence coordination system. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier will work together as one unified force. This was technology that the aliens had never imagined. Human artificial intelligence didn't just help with calculations. It allowed perfect coordination across the entire galaxy. Human forces could react to threats and opportunities instantly, while alien commanders still needed hours or days to communicate with their distant units. Captain Choi Min-ho was leading a human fleet toward the Stellar Confederation's main base. The Confederation had been among the most demanding of human resources, forcing human colonies to hand over food and raw materials while giving nothing in return. "Sir, Confederation forces are moving to intercept us," reported his tactical officer. "They have 40 ships to our 12. "Let them come," Min-ho replied. "Activate the spacefold drives." What happened next would have been impossible for any alien species to achieve. The human ships simply disappeared from normal space, traveling through folded dimensions to appear directly behind the Confederation fleet. "Attention, Confederation ships," Min-ho broadcast. "You are surrounded and outgunned. Surrender now or be destroyed." The Confederation commander couldn't believe what he was seeing. Human ships had somehow moved across light years in seconds, appearing in positions that should have been impossible to reach. "How?" the alien commander transmitted back. "No species has that kind of technology." "You're right," Min-ho replied. "No alien species has this technology. But you forgot that humans aren't like other species. We don't accept that something is impossible just because you say it is." The Confederation fleet surrendered without firing a shot. They had finally realized what the rest of the galaxy was: learning. Humanity was no longer the weak, primitive species they had been bullying for 2 centuries. As reports came in from across the galaxy, Admiral Jin-woo allowed himself to feel satisfaction. Every human military unit was reporting success. Alien forces were surrendering or retreating. The galaxy's most powerful species were finally beginning to understand that they had made a terrible mistake. They had pushed humanity too far, and now they would face the consequences of making peaceful people angry. The day humans lost patience had become the day the galaxy learned to respect human strength. The galactic economy collapsed in less than a week. For 2 centuries, alien civilizations had grown dependent on human resources without realizing it. Human colonies had been providing food to feed billions of aliens across the galaxy. Human miners had been extracting materials that kept alien industries running. Human traders had been protecting shipping routes that alien merchants needed to survive. When all of that stopped at once, the results were catastrophic. Admiral Park So-young sat in the main conference room of Nexus Prime, the space station that had once been the center of alien power. 3 days earlier, human forces had captured the station without firing a shot. The alien defenders had surrendered when they realized they were facing weapons they couldn't fight. Across from her sat a delegation of the galaxy's most powerful species. These beings had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years, but today they looked like frightened children. Ambassador Veltarak of the progenitor species was trying to maintain his dignity, but his hands shook as he read the terms humanity was offering. "These demands are unreasonable," he said, though his voice lacked its usual arrogance. "You cannot expect us to agree to such drastic changes to galactic law." So Young smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "3 weeks ago, you demanded that we surrender 60% of our farming worlds and send our children to alien education camps. Those demands seemed unreasonable to us, too." The Valith representative, General Kethmoran, spoke next. His purple skin was pale with stress. "You don't understand the delicate balance of galactic politics. These systems have worked for millennia." "They worked for you," So Young replied. "They didn't work for the hundreds of younger species you've been exploiting, including us." She gestured to the large windows that showed space around the station. Instead of the usual mix of alien ships, the view was filled with human vessels, sleek battleships that could destroy planets, fast attack craft that could appear anywhere in seconds, massive support ships that could maintain a fleet for years, without returning to base. "Let me explain your new situation," So Young continued. "Humanity now controls 37% of galactic shipping lanes. We provide 48% of agricultural output across known space. We extract 61% of strategic minerals from sources you can't replace." The aliens looked at each other nervously. They had never bothered to calculate how dependent they had become on human labor and resources. "More importantly," So Young added, "we have positioned military forces throughout your territories while you weren't paying attention. We can cut off your supply lines, disable your communication networks, and shut down your economies whenever we choose." Ambassador Veltarek tried one more time to assert authority. "You cannot simply change the natural order of things. Older species have always guided younger ones. This is how civilization works." So Young's expression hardened. "No, this is how oppression works, and it ends today." She activated a holographic display that showed the current military situation across the galaxy. Red areas showed alien-controlled space. Blue areas showed human-controlled space. The blue areas outnumbered the red by more than 3-1. "You have 3 choices," So Young explained. "First, you can accept our terms for a new galactic government based on equality and fair treatment. Second, you can try to fight us and lose everything you have left. Third, you can ignore us and watch your civilizations collapse as we cut off all trade and support." The Korthak delegate, made of living crystal, made grinding sounds that indicated extreme distress. "This is impossible. How did you hide so much military strength?" "By being what you told us we were," So Young replied. "You said we were primitive, so we let you believe our ships were simple cargo haulers. You said we were weak, so we let you believe our workers were helpless laborers. You said we were stupid, so we let you believe we couldn't understand your technology." She stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the human fleet. "While you were congratulating yourselves on your superiority, we were learning everything about you. We know your military capabilities, your economic weaknesses, your political divisions. We know which of your leaders are corrupt, which of your generals are incompetent, and which of your systems are about to rebel against your rule." This last point hit home harder than the aliens expected. For centuries, They had been suppressing younger species that wanted more freedom. Now those species were seeing that successful resistance was possible. The Zephyrian trade representative spoke for the first time. "What exactly do you want from us?" So Young returned to her seat and activated another display. This one showed a proposed new structure for galactic government. "We want a galactic council where species are represented based on their contribution to galactic civilization, not the age of their species," she explained. "We want trade laws that are fair to everyone, not just the oldest civilizations. We want an end to forced resource transfers and slave labor, and if we refuse?" asked the Centauri delegate. So Young's smile returned, but it was not pleasant. "Then you'll discover what happens when humans stop being patient." She activated a final display that showed something the aliens had never seen before. A complete map of human military installations across the galaxy, bases hidden inside asteroids, weapons platforms disguised as research stations, fleets that could appear anywhere in the galaxy within hours. "We've spent 200 years preparing for this moment," So Young continued. "Every human you dismissed as harmless was actually gathering intelligence. Every human colony you thought was defenseless was actually a military base. Every human trader you ignored was actually positioning weapons and supplies for this day." Scope of human preparation was staggering. The aliens realized they had never been in control at all. For decades, humans had been building the largest, most advanced military force in galactic history right under their noses. "You lied to us," Ambassador Veltarek said weakly. "No," So Young corrected him. "We let you lie to yourselves. You wanted to believe we were weak and primitive, so you ignored evidence that suggested otherwise. You wanted to believe you were superior, so you dismissed our capabilities. You wanted to believe you were in control, so you never noticed we were preparing to take that control away." Captain Choi Minho entered the conference room carrying a data pad. He had been coordinating with human commanders across the galaxy, and his news was not good for the aliens. "Admiral, I have updates from the outer systems," he reported. "The Stellar Confederation has agreed to our terms. The Andromedans are already implementing the new trade regulations. The hegemony is still considering their options." So Young nodded. The hegemony had always been the most stubborn of the alien powers. They would need a more direct demonstration of human capabilities. "Signal Major General Ryu Dong-hyun," she ordered. "Tell him to reveal the Terraforge weapons in hegemony space. Don't fire them. Just let the hegemony see what we've had positioned near their home worlds for the past 15 years. Minho grinned. That should get their attention. The alien delegates looked confused. They had no idea what the Terraforge weapons were, but they were about to find out. Within an hour, reports came in from hegemony space. 17 asteroid mining operations had suddenly revealed themselves to be massive weapons platforms, each one capable of cracking a planet in half. They had been hiding in plain sight for 15 years, disguised as peaceful industrial operations. The hegemony surrendered immediately. "You see," So Young said to the stunned alien delegates, "we didn't start this war. You did 200 years ago, when you decided that being older made you better than everyone else. We just finished it. The new galactic order was about to begin, and for the first time in galactic history, it would be based on fairness rather than force. 6 months after what historians were already calling the day humans lost patience, the galaxy looked completely different. The old system where ancient species ruled over younger ones had crumbled like a house built on sand. In its place, humanity was building something that had never existed before, a truly fair galactic government. Fleet Admiral Kim Jin-woo stood on the observation deck of the new Terran Confederation headquarters, watching ships from dozens of different species. Working together in space, human vessels worked alongside alien craft, but now they worked as equals rather than masters and servants. "Sir, the morning reports," announced Captain Nam Soo-jin, who had been promoted to his personal staff. She handed him a data pad filled with updates from across human space. Jin-woo read through the reports with satisfaction. Agricultural output from human worlds was up 30% now that they were keeping their food instead of giving it away for free. Mining operations were more efficient without alien overseers demanding impossible quotas. Most importantly, human colonies were finally able to focus on improving life for their own people. "What about the alien response?" he asked. "Mixed, but generally positive," Soo-jin replied. "The younger species are enthusiastic about the new system. They're finally getting fair representation and trade deals. The older species are adapting." Jin-woo nodded. Some of the ancient alien civilizations were having trouble accepting that age no longer guaranteed power. But they were learning that the alternative to cooperation was isolation, and isolation meant economic collapse. The door opened, and Commander Bai Ji-hun entered, carrying good news from the Outer Rim territories. He had been appointed as the new governor of the former Valeth core worlds, and his transformation of those systems had been remarkable. "Admiral, I'm pleased to report that productivity in the former Valeth territories is up 40%, he announced. "Turns out that when you give people fair wages and safe working conditions, they work harder and better." This was typical of what was happening throughout human-controlled space. The old system had been based on forcing people to work through threats and punishment. The new system was based on rewarding good work and treating everyone with respect. "What about the Valeth themselves?" Jin-woo asked. "Surprisingly cooperative," Ji-hun replied. "Once they realized we weren't going to enslave them or take revenge, many of them started working with us. Some of their younger generation is actually excited about the changes." This had been one of humanity's smartest decisions. Instead of punishing the alien species for their past behavior, humans had offered them a chance to participate in the new system as equals. Many aliens had discovered that they preferred fair treatment to the old system of dominance and submission. Dr. Yoon Ha-neul appeared on the main communication screen from her new position as Director of Galactic Research. She was broadcasting from a joint human-alien research station where scientists from multiple species worked together on projects that benefited everyone. "Admiral, I have exciting news," she said with genuine enthusiasm. "Our joint research projects are producing results faster than anyone expected. When species actually share knowledge instead of hoarding it, scientific progress accelerates dramatically. This was another revelation that had surprised everyone. Under the old system, each species had jealously guarded their technological secrets. Now that knowledge was being shared freely, new discoveries were happening every day. "What kind of discoveries?" Jinwoo asked. "Medical treatments that work for multiple species. New energy sources that are cleaner and more efficient. Communication, technologies that let different species understand each other better. We're accomplishing in months what used to take decades." Jinwoo felt proud of what humanity had achieved. They hadn't just won a war. They had created a better way for different species to live together. The door opened again, and Admiral Park So-young entered, carrying reports from the new Galactic Council. The Council still met on Nexus Prime, but now it included representatives from every species in known space, not just the oldest and most powerful ones. "How did the vote go?" Jinwoo asked. "Unanimous approval," So-young replied with a smile. "The new trade regulations passed without a single dissenting vote. Even the progenitors supported it. This would have been unthinkable 6 months ago. The progenitors had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years and had never accepted any limitations on their power. But they had learned that cooperation was more profitable than domination. "What about the younger species?" Jinwoo asked. "They're thriving," So-young replied. "The Altarians just opened their first interstellar university. The Novans are expanding their trade network. The Centaurans are developing new technologies. When species don't have to waste all their resources serving older civilizations, they can focus on improving themselves." Jinwoo walked to the window and looked out at the bustling space around the station. Ships from dozens of different worlds were coming and going, carrying goods, people, and ideas throughout the galaxy. For the first time in galactic history, trade was truly free and fair. "There's something else," So-young added. "We've been contacted by species from beyond our galaxy. Word of what we've accomplished here is spreading. This was perhaps the most significant development of all. Other galaxies had their own versions of the old system, where ancient species oppressed younger ones. Now they were learning that there was a better way. Captain Choi Minho arrived with the latest intelligence reports. As head of the new Galactic Intelligence Service, he was responsible for monitoring potential threats to the new order. "Sir, we've identified 3 systems where the old guard is trying to organize resistance," he reported. "Nothing serious. Mostly older species complaining about losing their privileges. But we're keeping an eye on them." "Any military threats?" Jinwoo asked. "None," Minho replied. "Most of the galaxy's military forces are now integrated into the Confederation Defense Fleet. The few holdouts don't have enough ships to threaten anyone." This had been another smart human strategy. Instead of destroying alien military forces, they had invited them to join the new Galactic Defense Fleet. Many alien officers had discovered that they preferred serving a cause they believed in rather than enforcing oppression. "What about public opinion?" Jinwoo asked. "Overwhelmingly positive," Minho replied. "Polling shows that 87% of galactic citizens support the new system. Even among older species, approval is above 60%. Jinwoo wasn't surprised. When people were given a choice between freedom and oppression, they usually chose freedom. Dr. Hanul's voice came through the communication system again. Admiral, there's one more thing I should mention. Our analysis of galactic history suggests that this transformation was inevitable. What do you mean? Jinwoo asked. The old system was collapsing under its own weight, Hanul explained. Younger species were becoming more advanced and more numerous. The ancient civilizations were stagnating because they had no competition. If humans hadn't triggered this change, someone else would have within the next century. Jinwoo considered this. Perhaps humanity's greatest achievement wasn't winning the war. It was ensuring that the transition to a better system happened peacefully rather than through galactic civil war. So what's next? Asked So Young. Jinwoo looked out at the stars, where countless worlds were building better futures for their people. We keep doing what we do best, he said. We keep improving, keep innovating, keep proving that cooperation works better than domination. The day humans lost patience had become the first day of a better galaxy, and that was a legacy worth fighting for. 10 years after the day that changed galactic history, Captain Nam Soo-jin stood on the bridge of the TSS Horizon, humanity's most advanced exploration vessel. She was no longer the young officer who had watched Commander Lee Tae-min crush that first compliance order. Now she was a seasoned explorer, leading humanity's mission to make contact with newly discovered civilizations. The ship was approaching a system where long-range sensors had detected signs of a species that had just achieved faster-than-light travel. This was always an important moment, the first contact between an emerging civilization and the broader galactic community. Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the planet, reported her communications officer, Lieutenant Yoon Min Jae. They're asking us not to hurt them. Soo-jin felt a familiar sadness. 10 years later, and new species still expected to be conquered or enslaved when they met older civilizations. The reputation of the old galactic order had spread even to species that had never experienced it directly. "Open a channel," she ordered. "Let me speak to them." The main screen showed a being that looked like a cross between a dolphin and a bird, with smooth gray skin and large, intelligent eyes. The creature was clearly terrified, but trying to maintain dignity. "Greetings, elder species," the alien said in a trembling voice. "I am Ambassador Kelth 9 of the Aquarian people. We are new to space travel and understand that we must submit to your authority. Please tell us what tribute you require." Soo-jin's heart ached. This species had never met aliens before, but they had somehow learned to expect oppression. Stories of the old galactic order must have reached them through radio signals or other distant communication. "Ambassador Kelth 9, Soo-jin said gently. "I'm Captain Nam Soo-jin of the Terran Confederation. We don't require tribute, and you don't need to submit to anyone's authority." The alien's eyes widened in confusion. I don't understand. Are you not here to conquer our world? To make us serve your empire?" "No," Soo-jin replied with a smile. "We're here to welcome you to the galactic community as equals. Would you like to learn about how things really work now?" She gestured to her diverse bridge crew. Humans worked alongside Valeth, Korthak, and members of a dozen other species. They weren't servants or slaves. They were colleagues and friends who had chosen to explore the galaxy together. You see, Sujin continued, the galaxy is very different from what you might have heard. 10 years ago, we went through a great change. The old system where ancient species ruled over younger ones is gone. Now, all species are judged by their contributions and their character, not by how long they've been traveling between stars. Ambassador Kelth 9 looked like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. But the old stories, the radio signals we intercepted, they spoke of empires and tribute and forced labor. Those stories are true, Sujin acknowledged, but they're from the past. Let me tell you what happened. She activated a holographic display that showed the events of 10 years ago. The images showed human colonies being oppressed, alien fleets demanding tribute, and the galactic hierarchy that had seemed unbreakable. For 200 years, younger species were forced to serve older ones, Sujin explained. My people, the humans, were among those being oppressed. We were told we were primitive and weak. We were forced to give away our resources and accept unfair treatment. The display showed the moment when humanity revealed their true strength. Ships appearing out of nowhere, weapons that could destroy anything, technology that broke the rules of physics. But we had been preparing, Sujin continued. While the older species grew lazy and comfortable, we were working and learning and building. When we finally said no more, we had the power to enforce that decision. Ambassador Kelth 9 watched in amazement as the display showed the transformation of galactic civilization. The old council chambers where ancient species had made decisions for everyone else. The new system where every species had a voice and a vote. So now, Sujin concluded, when we meet a new species like yours, we don't demand tribute or submission. We offer friendship and partnership. The alien was quiet for a long moment, trying to process this information. Finally, he spoke again. What? What if we're not strong enough? What if we can't compete with species that have been traveling the stars for thousands of years? Sujin's smile became warmer. She remembered asking similar questions when humanity first learned about the galactic community. Strength isn't just about technology or military power, she said. Every species has something unique to offer. Some are great artists. Some are brilliant scientists. Some are natural diplomats. Some are skilled engineers. The key is finding what you're good at and using it to help everyone. She gestured to Wei, her tactical officer, a former Korthak warrior whose crystal-based physiology made him incredibly good at analyzing complex data patterns. Lieutenant Commander Vex 7 used to serve an empire that valued only military strength, Sujin explained. Now he uses his analytical abilities to help us explore new worlds safely. He's much happier, and we're much more effective. The Korthak officer nodded, his crystal face somehow managing to convey contentment. The new way is better, he confirmed. Fighting for a cause you believe in is more satisfying than fighting because you're ordered to. Ambassador Kelth 9 looked around at the diverse crew with growing wonder. And humans lead this confederation? We helped create it, Sujin corrected, but we don't rule it. Leadership positions go to whoever is best qualified, regardless of what species they come from. The current president of the Galactic Council is actually a Zephyrian named Tel-5, who used to be a trader before going into politics. This was perhaps the most radical change from the old system. Instead of power being inherited based on species, age, it was earned through merit and chosen through democratic elections. The most important thing to understand, Sujin added, is that you have a choice. You can join the galactic community or stay independent. You can share your technology or keep it private. You can trade with other species or focus on developing your own world. No one will force you to do anything. Ambassador Kelth IX's fear was gradually being replaced by excitement. We could really be equals? Our voice would matter as much as species that have been in space for millennia? Absolutely, Sujin confirmed. In fact, newer species often bring fresh perspectives that help solve old problems. The Novans developed a new form of faster-than-light communication just 5 years after joining the Confederation. The Altarians created medical treatments that work for multiple species. Innovation comes from everywhere when everyone is free to contribute. The alien diplomat was quiet again, but this time Sujin could see hope in his large eyes. "What would be our first step?" he asked. "That's up to you," Sujin replied. "We can send cultural ambassadors to help you learn about other species. We can share basic technologies that will improve life on your world. We can invite some of your people to visit our space stations and see how different species work together, or we can just leave you alone to develop at your own pace. The choice is yours." Ambassador Kelth IX looked back at his own ship, where other Aquarians were watching this historic conversation. "I think," he said slowly, "we would like to learn more. We would like to see this new galaxy you've created." Sujin's smile broadened. "Welcome to the galactic community, Ambassador. I think you're going to like it here." As the TSS Horizon prepared to escort the Aquarian ship to the nearest Confederation station, Sujin reflected on how much had changed. 10 years ago, first contact meant conquest and subjugation. Now it meant friendship and opportunity. Behind her, the human crew worked alongside their alien colleagues, proving every day that the new system worked. The galaxy was becoming the place that humans had hoped it would be when they first reached for the stars. A community of different species working together to build something better than any of them could achieve alone. The day humans lost patience had indeed become a day etched in galactic history. Not as the end of the old order, but as the beginning of something far better. And as more species like the Aquarians joined the Confederation, that better future continued to grow and spread throughout the galaxy. Sometimes, Sujin thought, the greatest victory wasn't defeating your enemies. It was turning them into friends and building a world where no one needed enemies at all.